Welcome back to my Flosstube channel. My name is Sarah, otherwise known as Little Snips, and this is my Flosstube number 16 on May 30th, 2017. I was supposed to record this yesterday, but it was a holiday and my husband was home, and you know how, those of you who are married or have partners, you know how it is. There's always the chance that he was going to wander in or ask a bunch of questions while I was recording or make fun of me, which seems to be a husband thing to do sometimes. And it was just easier to wait until today. So apologies for being a day late, but here I am. Welcome back. I wanted to take a minute to, well, first say if you have just found me, thank you for taking a chance on a brand new Flosstube channel. And if you're coming back, thanks for coming back again. I really do appreciate my return viewers and the people who leave me comments and let me know that they're watching and still watching. I really do appreciate it. I did just go through and answer a bunch of old comments, so if you hadn't had a comment from me or response from me to something you said before, you might want to check and see if I've answered you now, because I just did. I'm terribly behind on answering comments, but I did go through and answer some, so anyway, that's done. But thank you so much for leaving comments, and more specifically, thank you so much for all of your amazing compliments on Mom's tablecloth. I did find out the day after I think I recorded, well, anyway, sometime shortly after I recorded, I did get a call from her, and she did say that she really, really liked the tablecloth. I had said that it was definitely a labor of love, and she said that she could definitely tell, and she had already put it on display on her table in her house, so yay! She liked it, and that means it was all worth it. All of the frustration and tedium and trying not to tear my hair out over getting that project done was definitely worth it. So thank you for the compliments. Kelly from Kelly Bell Stitches did actually go and look for the pattern. You remember I said I had no idea where to find it. I thought it was probably wildly out of print and unavailable. Kelly graciously, generously, actually took some time and went and looked for that pattern and for the kit, and she did find it on a website. So I will link that in the notes below. If you are interested in stitching that particular tablecloth pattern, I will link it. You can see if it's still available from that website. They did have a couple of other tablecloth patterns, and I have to admit, I saw a couple of them and I thought, wow, that's really cute. It might be fun to stitch that. And then I came to my senses because, like I said, never again. Never on a tablecloth like that. Never on that kind of fabric. It would just frustrate me too much, and I would never finish it. So I'm not going to do it again, but I will show you the website so you can decide for yourself if you're interested in stitching those projects. I said what day it is. I said this was episode 16, which is one of my favorite numbers, so that means it should be a good luck episode, right? What did I want to talk about? I do have some things to show you, a couple of little mini finishes to show you. I have some progress to show you. I have some haul to show you. I know I've been teasing a little bit with those of you who are interested in seeing them. I've been teasing a little bit about showing you my snakes. I know that there are a lot of you who are not interested in seeing them, so I am definitely going to save that for later. Excuse me, Flosstube, itchy nose. But I thought that today, since I was supposed to record yesterday, and yesterday was a holiday here in the States, and so it was Memorial Day, so it's not really a celebration day, but it was a day to do something different. So I thought maybe I might but show you guys one of my favorite snakes. Again, I'll save him for the last part of the video so you can walk away, turn the video off long before you ever see him. I'm not going to just pop him in like a surprise creature. But I did say that I would possibly show some of my snakes someday, and so I think I will do that today, at the end. Again, don't worry, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to put in a stealth snake. He won't come slithering across the screen to terrify you. He'll be at the end, the very end. Anyway, the other thing I have for you today is a rant, kind of. It's not really a rant. It's more, well, it's probably going to turn into a rant. Anyway, As some of you know, or you might remember that I've mentioned a few times, I am an independent dyer, or I used to be an independent dyer. I've sort of shifted my focus away from that recently. But I used to dye spinning fiber and yarn, and if you could see the rest of my room in here, there's a whole like wall of spinning fiber. Some of it that I dyed, most of which I have bought from other dyers because anybody who is a dyer will tell you sometimes you get tired of working on your own stuff and you want to see what other people do. So I was an independent dyer. I dyed, like I said, spinning wool and spinning fiber and yarn. I'll show you a couple of examples of stuff that I did. That is a gradient lace weight sparkle yarn that I dyed and then pulled apart. I dyed this in the skein and then I pulled it apart to wind it into a ball so you could see the shift in color. So that's something that I did. Sorry for the reaching. I have all my stuff stored in the room with me. This is another one. So this is a sock weight kind of yarn that again is a gradient, and then this was dyed in a sock blank and then pulled apart to be wound on a ball winder. This one is, and it's gonna, don't fall. Okay. This is what a sock blank looks like when it's dyed. I mean, not when it's dyed, but this is what a sock blank looks like. So I dyed this in a gradient progression. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a very nice color. But that's the kind of stuff that I did when I was dyeing. And I still do, I just don't do it as much as I used to because I was always a small fish in a growing pond. I never got to be the big fish, and there's, you have to look at, when you're looking at a business, you have to look at sort of time versus value, and it came down to, it's not always of value to me to spend the time for the amount that I sell. Business talk, it's very exciting. Anyway, I am an independent dyer, and as an independent dyer, I set up a PayPal account many, many years ago. I mean, 1,000 years ago in internet terms. And for a very long time, had no problems with my PayPal account. I moved money through from my bank account. I did a lot of transactions, both sending and receiving money. Everything was gravy. Until last year. And last year, they suddenly flagged me for buying something inappropriate, which they still to this day won't tell me what it is that I supposedly bought. Sorry, my English. They won't tell me what I supposedly bought that broke their terms and conditions. Every time I've asked, they just say, oh, well, it was this transaction from this account, which is not a transaction that I made. But trying to get through to them and trying to have them explain more what I bought or try to find out exactly what the transaction is an exercise in tooth grinding and hair pulling, and it's really frustrating. So the end of that story, ramble, rant, whatever, is that my PayPal account got shut down. They completely suspended my PayPal account. So I can no longer use it. It used to be that I could go to the PayPal site and not log in, but still buy things through PayPal. Well, now they've locked it down to the point that I can't do that either. I can't use any of my credit cards, any of my email addresses. They have them all locked so that if I try to buy something, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't go through, which is extremely frustrating, as you might imagine. There are a lot of sellers in the cross-stitch world, in any community, really. There are a lot of sellers who solely take payment through PayPal. They only deal with PayPal because PayPal used to be the easiest way for people to buy things. Direct checkout setups are difficult for a lot of people who have their own websites. They have to go through processing companies, which can be expensive, and PayPal was pretty reasonable. I've heard several people lately saying that PayPal has all of a sudden started locking down accounts. So it's not just me, but I would just like to let you know that it's happening. So be careful. Don't trust that if you're using PayPal primarily to buy things or sell things, but to buy things, don't trust that it's always going to be there for you. Don't trust that if you're not doing anything wrong, because I wasn't doing anything wrong, don't trust that you're not going to get caught up in PayPal's lockdown, PayPal's sudden need to police everything. My personal plea to those of you who are designers or dyers or something is, please, if you can, investigate other ways to sell your goods. I happen to have most of my stuff on Etsy, and Etsy has a direct checkout, which means that I can still sell things through Etsy as long as people are willing to use the direct checkout option and not PayPal. I can't accept PayPal anymore, so I can't sell to people who only use PayPal, which of course limits my customer base too, which is again frustrating. But if you're selling things, just be aware of the fact that PayPal sometimes does this and sometimes cuts people off. Obviously, it's not the majority of people, or PayPal would have gone out of business a long time ago, but they do cut people off for random reasons as far as I can tell. Now granted, some people are probably doing things that they shouldn't be doing with their PayPal accounts, and if PayPal needs to cut those people off, great. I understand that. But when somebody gets caught up who's not doing anything wrong, like me, yeah, it's a little frustrating. And it hurts your business. It hurts my business. So, again, my main point in bringing this up is, if you are selling things, either through Etsy and using PayPal through Etsy, or on your own website, or through Facebook groups or whatever, if you have any means at all to accept payment from people who can't use PayPal, that would be awesome, because I could go back to buying things. Yeah, that's a selfish statement, but I tried to buy a couple of things this past week, and I couldn't do it because the people who were selling them only accept PayPal. And while in theory I could use my husband's account, I guess, or have him buy things for me, yeah. We all know that there are sometimes things that you don't want to tell your husband you're buying. Like, you might want to sneak something into the house or add to your stash when they don't think you should add to your stash. Or, buy a birthday present as a surprise that you don't want them to know about. It's, like I said, it's a little frustrating. So, that's it. I know nobody really wants to listen to a rant or watch a rant first thing in a video. But I wanted to say that and sort of put it out there in the community. One more time, if you're selling things, if you're selling goods or patterns or needle minders, whatever, if you could look into a way where we who cannot use PayPal can shop with you, you would probably gain customers. You would make me personally really happy, and yeah. Anyway, enough begging you to give me a chance to spend my money. There are still people out here who do have other methods, and I'm not completely cut off, obviously. Plus, I've got quite a bit of stash, so I really don't need to buy things, probably. But shopping and crafting is not always about need, it's about want. And, ooh, that's the new shiny thing, I want to do that. And look how cool that is, I want to have that too. And without the ability to just pop into PayPal and, send your money winging off to wherever it's going, that gets a lot more difficult. So, okay, said I was done. I'm done. Let me show you things that I actually finished. Mini finishes, anyway. You have seen me talk about my Birthstone Dragon sampler by Ingleside Imaginarium and how far behind I am, because June is about ready to come out, and I have just completed January. But when I started all of my stitch-alongs, I think I said, and if I didn't, I should have, I think I said that I was not going to be too hard on myself if I didn't keep up. I just want to do the patterns. And so I'm not being hard on myself. I'm just stitching along as I get there. As noted by, the fact that I keep adding things, even though I said I wouldn't. Magpie. Shiny things. What can I tell you? Anyway, this is where I am on the Birthside Dragon stitch-along. Or the Birthstone Dragon stitch-along. And where I am is finished with January, finally. Yay! This is the Garnet Dragon. And he's completely done. He is backstitched. Backstitch is my least favorite thing ever in the cross-stitch and embroidery world. Not that there's a lot of backstitching and embroidery, is there? Anyway, I don't like to backstitch. So it takes me forever to do it, and I'm never happy with the way it looks, but he's done. He's completely backstitched. Let me get him closer. And not put him at an angle. You guys, I'm never going to get this camera thing. The whole where the project is in relation to the camera, I'm not going to get it, so you're just going to have to deal with weird angles and awkward close-ups. Sorry. But yeah, he's done. He's completely backstitched. I'm not real fond of the coverage, and I'm not sure why it didn't cover well. I'm going to look at stitching a little bit differently on the next dragons and see if that makes a difference. Hopefully that won't make me feel like I need to go back and rip him out and redo him, because I won't do that. But, yeah, he's done. And I'm kind of happy with the fact that he's done. I can move on to finishing the frame for the February square, or for the February, border, and the border around the dragon. And get February started, which is the amethyst dragon, which is one of my favorite stones, so hey. This is, again, and I'll show you, you guys have seen this, but and it's not really going to show up very well because it's a pale fabric, and the light in here is not great, but this is 28 count even weave that I dyed and put some sparkle on, and someday I will get a good picture of it when it's finished and framed, probably, or finished and finished however I finish it. I could probably say finish 1 or 2 more times if I try really hard. Eventually I will get a picture that actually shows a decent color of the fabric and probably some of the sparkle, and you'll know what it really looks like. But I do like the fabric. It's sort of modelly gray, and it makes me happy. Right. The other mini finish that I have is the Pancakes mini Sal. It's a free stitch along by Doreen Jones and Lakeside Needlecraft. And I actually am not terribly behind on this one. This is one that is coming out every week. So the second week piece is already out, and I have not started stitching it. There will be a third piece this Friday. So it's a 6-week stitch along. Like I said, every Friday there's a new pattern piece. But they're little, and they're simple, and they're really cute. You have probably seen this from other people because a lot of people are doing it because it's free and because it's Doreen Jones, and again, because it's adorable. But I'm not actually behind, that much behind anyway. So here is my, there is, there in the center, ta-da! There is the first week of the Tea and Cake Stitch Along. I did change the color on the border. The border is supposed to be a lot lighter than it is. It's supposed to be like a baby pink, and it just didn't show up well on my fabric. This is 14 count Ada, as I think I said in the last episode, and otherwise it's stitched in all of the called for colors. Okay, let me take that back. There is a Weeks Dye Works pack that they are selling through Lakeside Needlecraft that you can purchase in order to do the pattern as well, and some of the colors, the DMC colors, are substituted out for Weeks Dye Works colors. I didn't opt to do that. My experience with the Weeks Dye Works threads so far is that not all of them are extremely variegated, and I don't feel the need to purchase specialty floss if it's not different enough from DMC that it actually makes a difference. So I didn't do that. I didn't buy the Weeks Dye Works pack. I'm using all DMC. So you're not going to see any variegation, if there is any notable variegation in other people's projects. But that's what it looks like. Here in the second square, which obviously doesn't have a border on it yet, but in the second square, there's a stack of cupcakes with stripes behind it. That's the second week pattern, and I will get to that soon. This is sort of my palette cleanser. When I get frustrated or bored with stitching on something else, I go back to this and try to finish up the new pattern, and then I go back to something else. So, but Tea and Cakes Stitch Along, Doreen Jones and Lakeside Needlecraft. It's a free stitch along. If you are not aware of it or you're not participating in it and you want to do so, I will link to the group again, and you can join it and join us. Okay, so that is all of my finished work, my mini finishes. I did stitch on a couple other things, but not enough to show you because you won't actually be able to tell the little amount of progress I made on those. I do have one that I will show you though, or a couple that I'll show you, that I made enough progress that I think you'll notice, or you'll at least, I don't know, cheer me on something. You guys are great at cheering me on, so do some cheering. This is my Happily Ever After by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Again, another piece that I'm really far behind on. I still haven't finished the January block, and June is about to come out. But that's fine with me. I am watching other people stitch it. I know what's coming. I think it's an adorable sampler. I'm not sure that all of the stories that are involved in the sampler are Happily Ever After stories. I said something about that after the March block, which is the Billy Goat's Gruff. We have Around the World in 80 Days was the April pattern. Robin Hood is the May pattern, and I don't think of either of those as particularly Happily Ever After stories either. But the patterns are cute, and I don't particularly care if they fit the theme. I'm just a little bit confused by the theme, but I like the pattern, so I'm going to continue stitching on it. Anyway, ramble. This is my Happily Ever After. So as you can see, it's not finished. The reason I stopped stitching on this right now is because I discovered that I don't have some very common DMC colors, which is weird because I'm pretty sure that I had them, but I don't know where they are, and I can't find them, despite the fact that I've gone through all of my various little mini stashes of floss. Yeah, it's not all in my giant box, double-sided box where it should be. It'll get there eventually, but the point being, I don't have some really common colors that I need for this pattern, so I stopped stitching on this until I can go and get floss, which I might do today. Who knows? But, yeah. So this is where I am. So I finished filling in the border, this lovely arc. I finished doing that, and I really like the border. The border in this is one of those that I'm really fond of. I finished the cat, or rather, I at least put the colors in the cat, so you know it is a cat. The owl still needs some work. Obviously, the boat is not there. The beautiful pea green boat. It's not there. It will be as soon as I get floss. And the owl will be finished, and I will show you this when it's done. Again, so probably in the next episode, well, maybe not in the next episode. You'll see it when it's finished. It'll be finished sometime, and you'll see it. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. But when the characters weren't there, I was sort of meh about working on it. The fact that I actually got the cat done. Did I get her done? Well, she's missing her nose. Did you notice? She's missing her nose. But I was more enthusiastic about stitching on it when I started to see the characters come together. So it'll get worked on. This, again, is a piece of 28 count even weave that I dyed myself. Yeah, I did dye this myself. This is a piece that actually started out blue as opposed to being ivory or white like I normally do. This was actually a piece of blue, and I overdyed it and put modeling and sparkles in it, and I have showed you this before, and it's never easy to show you fabric, but then I go back and I watch the video. I always say that, and then I go back and watch the video, and the colors come through a little bit more cleanly than I think they do while I'm recording, so maybe you should ignore it when I tell you the color's wrong. It might be fine, regardless. 28 count, even weave, overdyed, modeled, sparkled, and yeah, that's where I am on Happily Ever After. I've decided I really like the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery characters. When I was looking at stitch-alongs and when I look at patterns in general, there are a few people who do the, little people or little characters or sort of cartoony, cutesy, parody characters of literature and movies and television and things like that, and I'm going to sneeze. Hang on one second. I'm not going to sneeze. Never mind. False alarm. And I sort of compared which of them I like, and Some of them I don't like, and I don't stitch those, obviously. Some of them I think are cute-ish, and I'll give them a shot and decide while I'm stitching whether I actually like them. So far, so good. I like both the Clouds Factory and the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery stitch-alongs that I'm working on. I think I like the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery a little bit better. A little bit. They're a little cuter to me, but we'll see. I haven't done a lot on my Fabulous Women, which is the Clouds Factory stitch-along, so maybe it'll grow on me, and then I won't know which one I like better. Right. What else have I stitched on? Right. Okay. I showed you last week the fact that I had started another new hobby, yay magpie, that I started doing counted canvas work, or counted needlework, mostly because I really liked the things that Danielle, the Stitcherista, showed in her finishes of her counted canvas work. So I had picked up some and decided to give it a try. Last week I hadn't started anything. I just showed you the kit, and I showed you last episode. I showed you the kit, and I showed you the threads that came with it. I showed you the canvas. This episode I actually do have some progress to show you. Sorry for the reach. And this is, oops, sorry, the needle just swung out of it. So let me put the needle back in here. I am not stitching this on stretcher bars or anything like that. The piece of canvas is only 8 by 8. The actual finished design is supposed to be 4 by 4 inches, so it's a pretty small piece of canvas. You will see it's a little bent, but that's because I have to bend it a little bit in order to stitch on it. If I have, or when I have, a bigger piece to work on, I will have stretcher bars, and I will actually tack it down so I don't have to try to do it in hand, because the mono canvas, the needlepoint canvas, does not bend like fabric does, like Aida or even weave. So it's a little bit tricky to stitch on it in hand, but that's what I've been doing, and this is how far I've gotten so far. So I think all counted canvas work patterns sort of work the same way, or are supposed to work the same way. Of course, you're supposed to stitch from the center on cross stitch designs too, and I don't usually do that. I usually start from a corner. But with this, it specifically said start from the center, because you're building, you're building on the square in the center. So, you know, you do the square in the center, and then you do the pieces that border it, and then you come out another row, another segment, and you build on the pieces that border it. Build on the pieces that border it. This is not perfect. There are mistakes in here, as you can see by my little block right there on the edge. It's not perfect. It's my first piece, so I'm not going to be too terribly critical of myself for not getting it perfect. I think when I put, there are bigger squares that go in on top of these little squares that I'm building, and I think when I put the bigger square in, it will help me take care of or mask that mistake that I made in the little square. I'm hoping anyway, because if it doesn't, I'm going to have to fudge something. But I'm really enjoying this. This is something that I do. I will work on a segment and then go back to my cross stitching. So I'm sort of alternating, sort of using this as a brain refresher, because it's a different technique and different sort of stitching. I'm not stitching on this solidly, but I don't stitch on anything solidly. That should be pretty clear from the minuscule amount of progress that I make. But except the tablecloth, of course, which I plowed through. Tangentville. It's Tangentville today. Anyway, this is it's a cobalt, it's called Cobalt, and it is a, I forget what she calls them, Color Delight. It's a Color Delight. This is the Cobalt Color Delight by Needle Design Originals? Needle Delight Originals. I'll link to what her website is called in the notes again. I am having a moment, and I can't remember what it's called. The designer's name is Kathy Reese, I know that, but I can't. It's Needle Delight Originals, I think. Anyway, Color Delights, Cobalt. Right. That's enough of that. Enough showing you things that you have already seen. I think I just flashed part of a diamond painting design at you. It's actually part of a hate design, but it's all marked up and It was really quick, and if you can do anything with what you just saw, I'm impressed. So, right. Moving on. Let's talk about what I bought. Oh, no, let me talk about this. After my last episode, last weekend, I actually got together with some local ladies, and we had a fantastic time sort of getting to know each other and sitting around stitching and talking. Part of the get together was inspired by Julie suggesting in the Flosstube Retreat Facebook group that we could use her group as a launch point for starting local stitching groups if we didn't have any. Well, I didn't use her Facebook group to do that, but I did reach out to some of the local stitchers, and we did set up our own Facebook group, and we got together that weekend and had chili, and I made some cornbread muffins to go with the chili, and we sat and we laughed, and we had a good time. We had a really good time. So thank you to all of my new local stitching friends, Janet and Lexa and Shauna. Those were the three other women Janet hosted us, and the three of us joined her in her home, which is a beautiful home. Her dogs are lovely and friendly and really cute. Her cat is adorable. We got to see some of her finished pieces, which are amazing. Amazing. Beautiful mirabilia on the wall. She showed me one of her counted canvas work pieces. Everybody was working on pretty big things. I sort of fumbled around and did a little bit of stitching. Not as much as I do at home by myself, but that was to be expected when you get stitchers together. Sometimes we talk more than we do stitching. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again. And if you are in the Sacramento area and you're interested in coming and hanging out with us or meeting with us or just sharing pictures and progress and things like that, come and join the group. I will link it in the notes below, and we would be glad to have you and be glad to see you. It's, we talked a little bit about the fact that a lot of the stitching retreats are on the East Coast or in the Midwest, and that there's not really anything here. We don't have any big stitching retreats. And it would be nice to have enough people in the area to, even just to put together like a little retreat would be great. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to have big designers or anything show up. Though, if there are designers who are interested in coming to the West Coast, specifically Northern California, but at the West Coast in general, and you would like to do a retreat, feel free to let me know. We haven't put anything together yet. We don't have any plans for anything yet. It's just sort of spitballing and fantasizing at this point, but it would be nice to be able to do that. But again, if you're in the area or if you're close to the area, you're passing through the area, you want to meet up with us at some point, let me know. I know that there's a group in the Bay Area that goes to, I'm going to forget the name of the shop. I did forget the name of the shop. I didn't. It's in my head, but I can't say it right now. Anyway, I know that there's a group that meets in the Bay Area at a needlework store, needlework store shop, LNS. So if you're in the Bay Area and you want to meet up with them, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you meet with them. But again, Northern California, Sacramento area, let me know and we will get you hooked up with the group and you can come and hang out. Right, I was going to show you what I bought. So, since I was on a counted canvas work kick, say that 3 times fast. I was on a counted canvas work kick, and I was passing by one of my LNSs, or the closer, I guess, LNS to me. I decided to go and buy some more counted canvas work patterns. So I did, and hey, look. It is Needle Delights Originals is what it's called, and I know that because I bought another pattern from her. This is a Color Delight. Again, as you can see, it is the Kelp colorway, and that's what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. Now, I have not started this. I don't have any of the supplies for it. I just bought the pattern because I was sort of in a hurry when I was going through the store. There was an event going on in the store at the time, so I didn't want to interrupt to get in the way of that. And yeah, there's a lot of collecting you have to do for counted canvas work. It's not as simple as going to the store and buying DMC. You have to buy all sorts of different threads and different types of threads and buy the canvas, and yeah. So I didn't do that, but I did buy the pattern. So that's the first pattern that I bought, the Color Delights Kelp. I also bought, and you have to put up with me crinkling because I have these in bags and I didn't take them out. Because why would I do that? If I was going to show them to you, why would I take them out ahead of time and be prepared? That's just crazy talk. Right, come out of the bag. Okay. I also bought Turquoise Trail, which is part of the Impressionist collection from Laura J. Perrin Designs. That, I'm trying to see if I can get it squared up. No, it's a little too big, but that's what it will look like when it's finished. And it comes with, the pattern came with, where are they? Are they not? Oh, they fell off. Never mind. It came with a couple of little rhinestones that go on the pattern. Down here, like this, in the corner. And this one up here. This one. So it came with those stones, but that's what it's going to look like when it's finished. Again, I haven't bought any of the supplies for it. This is going to be a matter of collecting pieces of what I need over a period of time, I think, because you can't get everything from the same place. I will tell you, Shauna, I think, it was Shauna, who mentioned to me that Nordic Needle, I know in my last episode I mentioned that I wasn't sure where to get some needlepoint supplies if you couldn't just get them from Michael's or 123 Stitch or something like that. NordicNeedle.com is a needlepoint supply store. It's been in business for a very long time, and they carry a lot of everything. Maybe not all of everything, but a lot of everything. So I will link to them too, and you can go and look at that if you're interested in the canvas work, in picking up patterns or supplies or whatever you need. Oh, I did that one. I did that one. Oh, and this is the other one. This is also a Laura J. Perrin design from a different collection. Again, I have to take it out of the bag. Sorry. This is... I mentioned that I'm a big fan of Southwestern style things, themes, colors, patterns. And she has a Western collection that has some Southwestern themed things in them. And so I bought this as well. As you can see, this is the Long Horse Collage. And that's what it will look like when it's finished. Again, I don't have the supplies, didn't buy the canvas or anything. It did come with some of the stones, and I'm looking for them because I don't know where they went. But it did come with some of the stones that will be included in the finished project, but not the whole thing. And again, it's going to be a matter of collecting it over time. So those are the patterns that I bought. I was good this time, guys. Heaven and Earth Designs had another sale, a Memorial Day sale. And though I added some more things to my wish list, which is practically impossible to avoid when it comes to Heaven and Earth Designs, for me anyway, I did not buy anything. I didn't buy any more patterns. No more Haid patterns. I had several already. I didn't feel like I needed to... Well, I wanted to buy, but held myself back, and then by the time I was like, I'm just going to do it, partly because of my frustration with the PayPal thing, the sale was over, and so I didn't do it. That doesn't mean, and really briefly, I don't only buy things from Heaven and Earth Designs when there are sales. I have bought several of my patterns at full price, and I don't regret that. And yeah. So I'm not solely a sale shopper. There's one that I shouldn't try to say 3 times fast. I am not only a sale shopper. But there was a sale, I had the opportunity, and because the sale was over, I didn't. If that makes me a bad human being, I will take that. I will take the lick. I don't think it does, but there you go. And then, as I mentioned, when you're an independent dyer and you dye your own fabric, which when I have colored fabric, most of it is stuff that I've dyed myself, you get a little tired of looking at your own stuff. Your own taste, your own style, your own methods get a little tedious. So I have been on, I think her name is Joanna, Fantasy Dyed Fabrics. I've been in her Facebook group for a while. I've looked at her Etsy shop several times and never purchased anything. And she put up a couple pieces that I looked at and I kept going back to and looking at again, and I decided I had to have them. So I bought them. Why not? Just to look at how other people dye and what their fabric is like, and also because it's fabric that I've never worked on before. So I bought a couple pieces of 28 count Juggling. I know there are people who really love Juggling, who rave about it and think that it's the best fabric to stitch on. I've never worked with it, so I figured combination of great color, combination of new fabric, combination of willingness to spend the money, and I spent money. So here you go. I bought 2 pieces of Juggling. Her fabric they're one-offs. She doesn't do like standard colors usually. She does color combinations, but she doesn't usually do standard, can be redyed, in stock all the time colors. So they don't have names. So I'll just show you what they look like. This is the first one I got. And again, I'm not going to do my fabric disclaimer because, like I said, sometimes I think it looks terrible on the camera and then it comes through on the video and it's fine. I will tell you that what I see on the camera is much paler and much more washed out than the fabric is in person. It's actually sort of it's a sort of like sky turquoise blue, and then sort of a yellowy green that goes into a darker green at the bottom. So it is a gradient. It is a faded fabric. I mean, it does change color. I don't necessarily know that it was meant to be a gradient. I don't know. I didn't ask her, so I'm not going to say what she was thinking when she dyed it. But I think it's really pretty, and I think it would make a really great piece for maybe a mermaid, maybe. But my thought was more an angel would probably look good, because I would think I would stitch it horizontally like this. And so you get the sky and sort of the cloudy, more earthy. Oh, you can't see that. Cloudy, more earthy effect. But I don't know. I guess it could be stitched this way too. I just think that there's a very clear dividing line between the colors that way, and I think that's a little strange. But anyway, 28 count Juggling. I thought it was really pretty, and it's a color that I don't have, and it's a color combination that I probably wouldn't put together, even in experimental fabrics. So, you know, experimenting is not always a bad thing. It's actually normally not a bad thing. So yeah, excuse the top of my head. And then I got a second piece, which is not at all like the first piece. And this one is reds or magentas and purple and blue. Yeah, that one, the red doesn't show up so great on that, but whoop, there's the tag. Again, 28 count Juggling. The red doesn't show up so great on that. But the blue and the purple are really pretty. And it's really modelly, and I don't have anything particular in mind for these. They are 15 by 17 pieces, so nothing particularly large can go on them. Like the Mirabilias are going to be, except maybe the minis, the Nora Corbett designs might fit on them, but the Mirabilias themselves, the giant angels and mermaids and things like that, probably aren't going to fit, which is kind of sad. But that's okay too, because not everything has to be a huge pattern. But yeah, so that's what I bought. And I think that's about all I have to tell you. For not having a lot to show you, at least compared to some episodes, I managed to ramble at you, or rant at you. Oh yeah, I was going to show you. Okay, so that's all I have to show you stitching-wise. That's all of my progress on my haul and my train of thought talking to you. So, if you are not interested in snakes, which I would imagine is the majority of you, but if you are not interested in snakes, this is where I say goodbye. This is, yeah, it was lovely talking to you again. I'm so glad you guys come back and watch me and let me know that you're watching. I hope that you are in good spirits. I hope that your family and yourselves are doing well. I hope you're getting lots of stitchy time and lots of progress. And oh, I didn't do Stitch Mania in particular, but I really have enjoyed watching all of you do Stitch Mania and seeing all of your starts and all of your projects. I couldn't have done it. I think I would have lost my mind halfway through, but I'm really amazed and inspired and, like I said, impressed by the things that you have done. So thank you for sharing. Thanks for being a part of the community, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye now. Okay, for those of you who are sticking around, give me 1 second. I'm going to pause the video and go get my buddy, and I'll be back to show him to you. Okay, I'm back. Again, if you are not fond of snakes, you do not want to watch this section of my video. I am going to show you one of my favorite snakes. He's very small. He's very cute. He is not anything scary. I love him a lot, but I like snakes. So again, if you do not like snakes, you do not want to watch this next part of my video, because I am going to show a snake on camera in about 5 seconds. So here we go. This adorable little dude. Oh, and I have to figure out how to show him to you because he's tiny. Well, he's not tiny, but he's pretty small. And he's cow spotted, can you tell? Let me see your face. Let me show them your face, because your face is the cutest part. Oh, he's gonna hide. Anyway, oh, there he is. Hello. This, wow, this is really awkward. This is and he's not gonna stay still. So it's gonna be tough to show you. I'm sorry, this is like a really weird, like jerky, scary movie, but this is a Kenyan sand boa. They are, as you might expect from the name, they are desert snakes. They tend to be burrowers, so they make little burrows, or they like to stay under the surface of the sand in the desert, and they are ambush hunters, which means they wait in the sand until something walks above them, walks over where they're hiding. So a lizard, a mouse, whatever happens to go by, and then sort of like if you're familiar with the sandworms in Dune, which is the best way I can describe how they eat, they will come up from below, they will grab their prey, and they will pull it back under with them and then eat it underneath the surface of the sand. They are really docile. Oh, look, you can. That's a really good shot. Close up of the snake, if I can do it, of his face. Oh, it's tough because my camera doesn't like to focus, but they have cute little smiley faces, or rather he does. They are very docile. They're very quiet. Well, snake quiet. I was going to say they're very quiet, but they're not showcase snakes, meaning they're not out on the surface of their tanks a lot. They don't necessarily want to be watched a lot. They're very private. Private sounds weird. They're very they like to be hidden. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, so I'm just going to say that. They like to be hidden. But they're very docile. These guys, I have two of them. I have a female and a male. He has never bitten me. He has never tried to bite me. The female has tried once, but I startled her, so if you do that to a snake, they're kind of going to freak out. But he's super cute. Let me see if I can get his face again. Oh, where's his face? No, you're not looking at the camera now. You're not looking at the camera. No, you're not looking at the camera. There he is. Ta-da! But it's blurry. So, not a great snake exhibition. Not a great whatever. As you can tell though, look. I'm holding him in my hand. Right? That's how big he is. He is full grown. He is almost 4 years old. So, he's full grown. He is, I mean, if I stretch him out, here, buddy. Here's his tail. Right here. That's his tail. That's his head. If I sit back with him, he's, you know, shoulder to shoulder on me, maybe. So, he's not very big. He is not a giant snake. He is not an aggressive snake. Ooh, look at the camera. He's really cute. Anyway, I'll stop sticking him in your face because even people who like snakes don't necessarily want them stuck in their face. And I will end the video. So if you stuck it out this long, thank you for taking a look at Muad'Dib. He is, and just to back up a little bit since I made a sandworm reference, yes, he is named after the main character in Dune. He is the mouse because he's a sandworm. His mate is Chani. Go figure. And if you're not a science fiction fan and you don't know what I just said, don't worry about it. Those who are geeks will understand. But if you have stuck it out this long and you've met my snake and you've seen all of my stitching, more power to you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.